Islam. First, I give praise to Allah, the great God of the universe. I give honor to his holy and divine prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I give honor to everything that pertains to Islam. I give honor to my sisters on the panel. And I give honor to all of you who have joined us for our final episode of the season of Girl Talk, Real Talk, Moorish Talk. Tonight's topic is gratitude versus greed. What is the correlation? I am Sister Ingrid Ill from Washington, D.C., Temple 71. Peace.
Islam. I'm Sister T. Britt Bay from Washington, D.C., Temple number 71. And I just wanted to come on real quick to say hi to everybody. I wanted to thank all the viewers for tuning in to all of the shows. I will not be on this last show, but I just wanted to have the opportunity to come on and thank everybody and looking forward to seeing you all next season. I love everybody, all my brothers and sisters. Peace.
Islam, Islam, Islam. I like to rise, giving all praises to Allah, honor to our holy and divine prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, honors to each and every one of you, honors to where honors is due. This is Sister Tiffany Hopkins Bay, coming from Temple number 11 out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Islam.
In Islam, first I give rise and praise to the great God of the universe, our Father God Allah. I give honor to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I give honor to my sisters here. I give honor to the viewers and the listeners, and I give honor to everyone that's with us today. My name is Sister A. Robin Obey, Temple number 21, Brooklyn, New York.
Praise Allah.
All right. So who's going to start with the first question? This is our last season, sisters. We're here, so this is going to be a great topic tonight. So who wants to start us off with the first question? Because
I will.
Go ahead.
So the first question that I have is, what is the difference between gratitude and greed?
Well, I'll go ahead and start. And this is just from my understandings on the chapter. The prophet is laid out for us, chapter 33, page 41, the chapter in gratitude. You know, he talks about the difference between having gratitude and what greed. And he says it so beautifully here. He says, the heart of the grateful man is like the clouds of heaven, which drops upon the earth, fruits, herbage, and flowers. But the heart of the ungrateful is like a desert of sand, which swalloweth with greediness the showers that fall, and beareth them in its bosom, and produceth nothing. And when I read that, I think about how important, when you are grateful and when you have gratitude, you are you're giving back. You know, the clouds of heaven, the clouds of heaven drop, and it's producing something. It's producing the earth, the fruits. So when I'm receiving something, it's a reciprocation of it. That, you know, prophet says all of us are tied together. We're all bound by one cord. And when I think of the greed, I think about it as we're taking in one and we're just consuming it all, and we're not giving back. Mm-hmm. But we're happy to take it, but we're not giving back. So that's how I think about it. Peace.
Peace. Praise a lot. Go ahead, sis.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so just for me, just with the basic meaning, gratitude is being thankful, being appreciative. I think that it's important for us to show gratitude to Allah by following how He wants us to follow, how He has ordained for us to be. So showing gratitude, and it not only just to Allah, toward each other, being grateful, you know, showing appreciation, showing love. Those things to me stick out when I think about gratitude. When I think about greed, I feel like greed is more so like a possession type situation. Like, you know, you want it all. You want it all. You want everything you can possibly have. And thinking about it even more, it's like sometimes are we being, or do we have greed for things that we can't even honestly deal with, like attain? Like, do
Mm-hmm.
we have the desire to have more than we actually need?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that makes me think about, you know, at times we may ask, whether it's others or ask Allah for things that we may want, but is it something that we actually need to function? So praise Allah.
Praise the Lord. Sister, can you repeat the question?
Yes. What is the difference between gratitude and greed?
Yeah. Well, y'all both pretty much broke it down. Um, Gratitude is being grateful for what you already have, and it's being content with what you have. And greed is having enough and wanting more. You pretty much just said that. It's really having
Mm-hmm.
enough and wanting more, and not even so much that you want more. Like you said, you want it all. You don't want nobody else to have none, just you. You the only one. So yeah.
I just want to reference, when I had Google greed, it said having or showing an intense and selfish desire for something. And I
Mm.
was like, wow, like that sinks deep to me. Like, being selfish, wow, like that's crazy, because it's like you don't care about nothing but yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And I think, we're taught to study self, to know thyself, um all those things of being aware of self. But our Quran, praise Allah, never talks to us about being selfish, because we know that we are all around each other to help each other, reciprocal helps and mutual obligations. We're here, and we all need each other to be here. So the fact that, having greed, or wanting greed means to be selfish, it's like that goes against your principles altogether.
All together.
Mm-hmm.
So that really touched home for me. Praise Allah.
And even when you were just speaking about it, it made me think of, because the question we have is what is correlation? To
Mm-hmm.
me, the correlation is if you're not being grateful or you're not in a place of gratitude, you might have to check yourself. Are you being greedy?
That's right.
We don't normally really say I'm ungrateful, but what are you? You know, um, when someone said something beforehand, it's like, do we have enough? It's like the prophet said, it's not about abundance, I think it is, but it's about economy.
Mm-hmm.
What you have, are you using it to its best? Are you just wanting more for more sake?
Right. I
Hmm.
remember being young, and praise a lot for my mom and my grandmother. But I recall, and it because you just said what you said, Sister Reverend Obey. I remember them saying to me, I was young, I was very forward. But they were like, "You are so ungrateful," and I was like, I just had an attitude like, okay, I'm. I didn't know what it meant. Praise Allah for growth and unfoldment. But I just was like, now I think back to that, like I probably was very ungrateful, and I'm so sorry. Wow, like those are things that I think of today when I'm dealing with my children, because that rings a
Hmm.
bell in my head. Like I remember getting yelled at, like you're being so ungrateful, and I wasn't. I really was not being grateful for the things that they were giving me or doing for me. Like, and we got to think about that in the present day. Are you grateful to Allah for what He has blessed you with? Because we have to be honest about this. You're being blessed.
Hmm.
You're blessed to wake up another day to do it all over again, to try to make it right. You're blessed try to make a try to recover yourself after you've made certain transgressions. You're blessed to, just be able to function, to talk. Like, you got to think about those blessings that you get on a
Daily.
consistent daily
Yeah.
basis that you take for granted.
Yeah.
We take a lot of things we take for granted the ability to be able to speak or to breathe.
Yes, you hit it.
Praise
The
God.
breath. The first thing I thought of, if Allah allowed you to take your next breath,
That's
you should
right.
be grateful.
That's
We
right.
we because now you have the opportunity to do lots of things. You can
Hmm.
change, you can shift your decisions, you can figure out your next move, but he's got to give you that next breath to even be here.
That's
Islam.
right.
Mhm. Islam.
That's right. Praise
Mm,
Allah.
Sister Reverend Bay, you can go ahead with your question. I gotta pull mine up. Give me
no
one
worries.
second.
I'm gonna Sister Britt Bay shared her questions. I want to make sure we get one of hers in here this week. And she had on here, how do you demonstrate gratitude, in if any, in this movement? So how are you showing your gratitude to this movement that we're in?
Well, I can answer that. Um, how do I show gratitude? By obeying the laws, by
Mm-hmm.
obeying the laws that the prophet set forth for us. And
Mm-hmm.
it goes deeper. It goes deeper for me because I feel like um just being humane to one another, um, loving one another, or learning to love instead of hate.
Mm-hmm.
And I would also say for me, I show my love in ways of through conversation, but also through cooking. That's
Mm,
definitely one of the ways that I show love. And I know that we've talked about it before. Like, it's no stranger. Everybody knows I have a store, a restaurant, and stuff like that. But I
mm-hmm.
love when people come and say, "You can taste the love in the food."
You sure
Um,
can.
it's it's a gratifying feeling for me because that's what I desire. I desire for everybody to feel that love. Um, and so those are some of the ways that I demonstrated in this movement. Definitely by obeying the prophet's laws, by way of Allah, but definitely through my just kind conversation and feeding people. That is definitely my thing.
Praise Allah.
Praise
I have
Allah.
to add one on your list because I think we're this is for the movement, you know. I think we were all asked throughout our own walks to be honest and have
Yes.
conversations here to show the demonstration of our experiences being Moorish American Muslims on this platform. And
Hmm.
so I think that's a way that we're trying to do our best to have gratitude to this movement. I would say, similar to you, I think it's, the prophet said, got to learn to love instead of hate. And
Hmm.
so I think a lot about, how do I show love? Not say it, but how do I show it? How do I figure out a way to show my love to it? And that is, through connecting and with people. The prophet also said, there's work for all to do. And I
That's
take
right.
that seriously, that when you see an opportunity to do it, I'm thinking about, um, when there's events or when there's a meal or where there's wherever you can pitch in, you can see what needs to get done. Just
That's
go
right.
do it. I get to be
That's
able
right.
to participate with the social media team, Mr. Montgomery Band, with different elders. Like, wherever there's work to do, you just step in and do it. And it's always interesting when someone people say, how do you have time to do it? I said, I got time to work for Allah. Like, if something need to get done,
That's right.
we just got to do it, right?
Listen,
Somebody
it's
has to
something.
step up to the plate and just
Right.
do it. And so we all, but there's work for everybody. There's so much work
Right.
for everything that you see that needs to get fixed. I think it's a blessing because that means that you have the vision and you can fix it. That's how I think about it. So
Some
if
days
garbage is sometimes, yeah.
we don't know how we're gonna especially sisters, praise a lot for the brothers. High honors to all my Moorish American Muslim brothers. But
Mhm.
we know that the sisters, we wear
Mhm.
many, 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 many turbans in a day.
Mhm.
A day.
Mhm.
And you know, I remember someone asking me this question not long ago. Are you gonna be okay? Are you gonna be able? And I just was like, of course, I've been making it this, I've been making it this far. I'm doing okay. But
Mhm.
that's so profound what you said. You always got time for Allah's work. The thing about it, the funny thing about it is that you can be doing the work of Allah and the Prophet and not even realize it sometimes. You
Mm.
can be spreading that love and Islamism and not even realize it. Why? Because you are just being you. You're being your
Mhm.
natural self. You're being
Mhm.
true to who you are, and you don't even realize that people are watching you and they are picking up that energy.
That's right.
They're picking it
Islam.
up. So praise Allah for that.
Mm.
Islam. Um, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm having some technical difficulties over here. My questions are on this device that I'm using to speak on, so I had to come off to get my questions. But um, I re- well, the National Grand Sheik, he still says it. Um, when I first joined the temple years ago, what was said a lot was, if you think your conditions can be better, join the Moorish Temple of America. But it goes deeper than that. Like, you join the movement. Now, what about those auxiliaries that are within inside the movement? And how can you help out there?
Mm. Mhm.
Right? And when I joined the movement, let me first say I'm grateful that I was open to hear what I need to hear that day, that made me decide I wanted to keep visiting the temple
Mhm.
and keep visiting and visiting. And I visited for a little while before I actually joined, because I visited before,. But I wasn't open, you know. And when I did join, I got into the auxiliaries, the sisters auxiliary, of course. You're a member whether you were active or not, but I was an active member of the sisters auxiliary, and active in the Brothers and Sisters of Charity Auxiliary here in DC, and um, Brother Chase Ill, the Assistant Grand Sheik of the Moorish Sons of America, who's also the Grand Sheik of Temple 71. We started this new membership orientation committee, where we had an actual committee on it. And I was brand new in the temple, and he asked me to be on there. And to first, I felt honored, so I knew I needed to show my gratitude to Allah and to the brothers and sisters in the movement. Show up, have my questions, have my work, my homework done. So when I present these things in front of new members, I know what I'm saying. So I had to do some homework. So I'm grateful for those people who got me in service like right away, because it allowed me to grow more, allowed me to dig and to find out some things that I probably wouldn't have thought about till later on, had I not been asked to be a part of the new membership orientation. You got to think about that. That's the new membership orientation. It gives you a breakdown of what you need to know as a new member when joining. So that means I got to know it too. So I had to go and learn and search. So I'm grateful for that part. I've been honored to serve on the Sisters Auxiliary Committee. On the South Sisters Auxiliary is 71 as assistant secretary and secretary um, in previous years. And I'm grateful for the experience. I'm grateful that it came before this show that started doing what it does now. I had the
Mhm.
experience, I have the opportunity. And if I keep doing what I'm doing 3 days a week, I'll be able to do something like that again. So it's so many things. I could say I'm grateful for, as far as being in the temple and how I give back, just the the feeling of being able to just give back fills me with gratitude, because it could
Mhm.
it could be something else. I could be doing something else, that's not meaningful or fruitful,
Mhm.
peace.
Peace. Excuse me. Praise Allah.
Sister Grail, you want to
Okay,
go ahead with yours?
sure.
Mm-hmm.
So what is an aspect of how you were parented that you are grateful for today?
Mm.
Wow. I would say discipline and patience. Um, because I remember growing up, I was not like I was the child. First of all, I was my mom's firstborn, and so I had like a lot of responsibility, which also meant that I grew up fast, for lack of better terms. I matured fast, and just the environment. I'm a product of my environment. Um, but I will say that I did not have a lot of what do you call it, whippings. I didn't have a lot of those. I didn't have a lot of those. I had a lot of tongue lashings. I had my few of spankings, if you will, whatever the case may be. But I will say that I was disciplined in other ways. Like, I was talked to a lot. It was always a thing of you know better. I probably didn't know no better, but I was told that I did, so I had to act according. Um, when I think of the patience, my mother and my grandmother showed me a lot of patience, because they realized that they were grooming what a young girl that was going to eventually one day be a young woman, and then a full grown woman, and then a mother, and everything else that you become. And so I learned so much from them, and I'm so grateful, because I'm pretty sure that I was watching them and taking mental notes from them, and they probably had no idea.
Mm.
And when I tell you that there is so much that I owe unto them because of who I am today, um, is that I can be forever grateful. And it's not always like people are the exact perfect example, but you can learn from people and how the good things they do and the not so good things that they do. You can learn from each way. And so I
Yeah.
took and absorbed everything that I possibly could from them, because that's who I grew up under. And to be honest with you, I'm grateful. I'm truly, truly grateful and honored to be their, living legacy and raising my children, similar to how I was brought up.
Mm.
Truly grateful for that.
So,
The song.
Um, um, the question was, how are you grateful to your parents or the way you were raised? Can you just
what is an aspect of how you were parented that you're grateful for?
hmm So, I'm very grateful for both my parents. We joined the movement. I was about 8. And before that, they were at a place that wasn't with the movement, but was in, a different offshoot of not within this grand body. So I'm grateful for my father, who was the one who was like, this is going to be the way we live and have our family, and his ability searching for the truth to raise his family. And ultimately, he's, Grand Sheik of our Temple 21. And I have to think about them a little separately, because I think for the aspect of what um, how I was parented, I think one part is for my father. He never lost faith in Allah, and he had no issue sharing, and still doesn't, about his relationship, his spiritual relationship with Allah. He didn't have to, buck it up and, have the rules in order, but he demonstrated to me how important it is to have a relationship with your Father God Allah, and how when there are difficult times as they come, you know who to go to, you
Mm.
know. And so I'm very thankful for that as an adult. It's funny because when you said the question, it's like, how was I parented as a child? I think I didn't see that. I wasn't that grateful. I was like, we gotta go every Friday, and then we gotta go Saturdays, right? And I gotta, talk about Sister Auxiliary, Young Muslim League, our summers we did more stuff in the temple cleanup day, so I think when I was there, I didn't see it. When we were obviously with others, you were like, okay, we're gonna have fun, but there was times where you get pulled from that outside world, and you like, but they going over there. What about us? What about me? And he's like, no, you got to give back. And so I'm thankful for that. And they were firm with that, to instill in that. I would say for my mother, she was a workaholic, and when you said we see the good and the bad, I see both. Man, there's truth and falsehood strangely mixed. She, praise Allah, she was our secretary emeritus, ran into auxiliary. She was always about working and doing in the temple, with her work, with whatever, for the household. She showed her love to her and her care to her family, which was really an interesting way to, again, you don't understand. It's like, oh, why we got to do this way? Because your father likes this. What we doing? I'm like, okay, but what about what I want? What about, when you're a child, you don't understand sometimes all the pieces. And I think for me as a child, sometimes you are greedy because the world has revolved around you, and a lot of things revolve around you, and you got to learn how to be grateful. And your parents will teach you how to be grateful, however way they show you, punishments, spankings, whatever. I got them. And so I'm thankful for both of them demonstrating that, because both parts they pounded in the truth in that. We work hard, and you give the glory to Allah for every step, for every moment. So I'm thankful for that and how they parented me.
Praise Allah. So many things, I'm grateful that even though it was confusing at time, they gave me a God to worship. And it was confusing, with Jesus being called God and then God being called God. It was a bit confusing for, I guess, children, but we had to just do what we had to do. And going to church on Sundays was one of the things we had to do. And it gave us some structure, how to keep house, how to praise Allah for my daddy. Because of my father, I put every piece of furniture in here together by myself. I'm proud of that, right? I'm really proud of that. I had three parents, my bonus mother, who taught me the importance of money. She taught me how to save money, because she would give me my lunch money on Sunday evening, and it would be gone by Tuesday. So we had a long talk about that. And then she taught me how to save money. Got to save money for a rainy day. Put some money away for a rainy day. And I was a child. I was a teenager, like, rainy day in my mind. Like, you mean like when it rained outside? But as I got older, I was like, oh, okay. When, you might need some extra money, you got something to go to. My mother, I'm grateful for her sacrifices that she made. I know some of the things she had to do and some of the things she had to endure just so I could eat, just so I could have school clothes and school supplies. And I know she didn't want to do some things, but she got out there and made it happen for me. And if it's one person in this world I'm most grateful for, it is her. But I can't leave my daddy out, because, he was my main teacher of my life. Plus, he was a school teacher, He taught me about our history as far as he knew, because they didn't teach our history in schools where I'm from. So I learned about our history in my house, in my living room, on a big screen, with a projector. That's how I learned. My daddy taught me about our history. It's nothing that you would find in school back then. So I'm great. I'm so many things, but those are just a few that I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I was grateful that when they would call me, like if I was in another room, I would know what how serious the situation was from how they called me. If they call me just by Nikki or a nickname, it was all good. If they call me by my whole name, I knew I was about to get it right. I mean, I be finding little things that that I reflect back now that they are both gone. I reflect back to those things, the moments. I'm grateful for the moments that my parents share with me and the memories that they made with me. My father used to put us on a patio. He built a big patio and put barbecue grills back there, pits actually, that he built himself. And we go out there and he would make root beer floats. And he would cut up watermelon and he would put barbecue on the grill. And those are the memories that he left me with. He he told me that, if a man, use another word, but if a man can't take care of you as good as I do, you don't mess with him. I still hold on to that. Now I ain't follow it to the T, but I hold on to it, right? And I'm grateful that he cared enough to instill that in me, So that's enough. Peace.
Praise Allah. Praise Allah.
Praise Allah. Well, let me go with my question here, if it's okay. Similar, not parents, but other people in your life. So can you tell me about a time you received gratitude from someone else? What happened and how did it make you feel? How did it feel to you?
It's Islam. Just recently, there's a sister that I know. She's the oldest sister, older than me rather, and we have a good rapport. But what she did was so unexpected. Of course, my mom just passed, and I was planning on going home, which I did. And she came over. She called me. She says, "I want to come see you. I just want to come see you and give you a hug." And at the time, I didn't really know if I wanted company, but something inside of me said, "Don't turn people away. This is when you need people right now." Thank you, Allah, for that piece. And she came, and it was what I needed, and I didn't even know. And when she came, she brought me roses. She brought me an anniversary card. She brought me a sympathy card, and she brought me a financial gift as well. And I had no idea that she felt like that, And I was so grateful that is she saw in me, or however she sees me, she felt strong enough to come out of her pockets and out of her time. She had stuff to do, and she came and she gave that to me. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for so many of y'all who just really kind of stepped up, and not kind of stepped up. I'm sorry, stepped up and was there for me. I'm grateful for that. So many, so many things. But yeah, that is my most recent feeling of gratitude, I would say. Other than, because gratitude comes in the form of not complaining as well. Right. I was just in the closet, one of my closets, looking for something, and another shirt had fell down halfway, and I was trying to get it off the hanger, and it just wouldn't come off the other part of the hanger, and my shoulder started to flame up. And I was remembering the conversation I just had with a sister who eyes involuntarily close on her at any given moment. She could be driving, she could be anything, and her eyes would close on her. So she literally has to hold her eyes open to drive to work. So as my shoulder started to flame up, I said, "Don't you dare complain.
Wow.
Be grateful for what you can do." This woman got to drive to work with her eyes. She got to go to work still and drive with holding her eyes open. So, yeah. Peace.
Praise Allah. Can you repeat the question, sis?
Yeah. The question was, tell me about a time you received gratitude from someone, not your parents, but someone else, and what happened, and how did it How did it make you feel?
Oh wow. So praise the Lord for Sister Grill's story. It's like how can you go after that? But because I'm just, I mean, you have many interactions with many different people. Um, Let me think. Okay, so I can share today. Today is, oh well, I guess I can give my shout out now. Today is my oldest son, Ramadan.
Mm.
Ramadan Hopkins Bay, his birthday. He is 14 today. Praise
Islam.
God.
Praise Allah.
So today went like it was a lot going on because of course I still had to work, but I also, so it's our little family tradition when it's someone's birthday in our little six piece, we go, everybody gets out of school early. And so my son, he actually did not go to school because we wanted him to have, some time. Like, we understand being the oldest can be a lot. You have a lot of responsibilities. And for the most part, Ramadan handles them well. And so we felt like, we want you to kind of have your day your way, especially since we could not take him out for the fact of, working all day and then me being on our show tonight. But praise Allah. Um, so I had to go to my younger three children's school. And so I went there this morning, and this was after like a lot of running around. I finally made it. And then the principal was like, oh wow, I didn't think you would be able to make it, because my children are the type of children to be like, it's my brother's birthday, we getting out early because we gotta go celebrate him. These are my youngest children. Praise a lot for my youngest, the 5-year old, because he knows everybody's birthday down pat in the family. So he's like, okay, now it's Ramadan, and then next is Daddy, and like he goes on and on. So praise a lot for him. And so when I came to the school, the principal was like, "Thank you so much for coming," because it was an important meeting, but also I needed to sign up for like the different clearances and stuff like that, just to be able to freely walk back and forth in the school or go on trips and all that type of stuff. That's kind of how my children's school does it. Like, you have to be cleared to be around other children, say you don't have no issues. Praise Allah.
Mm.
So I was getting all of that stuff done, and it was like it's almost like when I'm at the school, they're so glad that I came because they know that I'm a parent that is involved.
Mm.
But and many of the teachers, praise Allah, my children have had, but the ones that they have not had, when they come to me and say, "Oh, hi, how are you? Thank you for coming in," and when they remember something like, oh, matter of fact, it was this one teacher. My son hasn't had her in the longest time, but she was like, "Yeah, I heard you have a store. Yeah, me and my dad are gonna come by, and this, that, and the third. And I'm so happy for you." Like, that type of stuff is like so moving, because it's like you don't think that people are even thinking of you. You really,
Mhm.
really don't think that people are thinking of you that way.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's important for me to give back to them because they are helping to mold my children.
Mm.
They are with them for like 8 hours every day. So they are
Mhm.
helping to mold them. And so I want the relationship to be a loving relationship, a cordial
Mhm.
and loving and respectful relationship, because I want them to know that I am a parent that is here, that is involved, and I care. And I also have that expectation from you as their teacher, their leader, their advisors, because they're here with you all. So
Mhm.
it's just a great feeling to, walk around. Um, I don't want my head to get big, but it is kind of like I walk around the school and I'm like a little celebrity. They're like, "Hi, Miss Hopkins Bay, how are you?" You know what I mean?
Ooh.
It's like really, really nice that people know who you are. They know, I guess through my children, they know so much of my business, but praise Allah. Uh, they they are really like involved. like this is an involved relationship, and I'm grateful for that. So praise Allah.
Praise Allah, indeed.
Praise Allah.
Yes.
Um, so I'll just say on that one, I remember being very touched by this one. Really stuck out because it reminded me. Well, let me tell the story first. So, I think it was when I had my daughter. So we're going back a bit,
Mm.
and it was my first Mother's Day, which just passed, and I was, when you have your first child, and she was born in April, it was in May, it's a month in, no sleep, no nothing, you looking a little ragged, and then the doorbell rings, and nobody, I'm like, what? Who's at the doorbell? And the doorbell was someone. So back in my old job, I used to work at a bank. I used to run a branch, and it was one of my old tellers. And I was like, "What is he doing at my door?" And I'm not, dressed up and cleaned up and hair, and he came with his bouquet of flowers for my first Mother's Day. He bought this beautiful bouquet, walked to the door. I don't know how he got my address, and came over and just said, Happy Mother's Day, congratulations, thank you. But he said that uh, you were a mother to me because you cared to help me.
Wow.
And yeah, and I get, because I was like, I was just doing what I thought was the right thing. I felt like
Right.
he had so much to go on for him. I was like, you should do this, you should do that, because I always believed that, when I had a team, that they're here for this moment, but it's
Mm.
really about them being their best and happy. And if this job is not fitting for you, let's find a different job that fits you, that you can be your best and be happy.
Right.
But I
That's
remember him because I was like, you can go far. You could do this, you can do this. So I was doing stuff with him, but that was just me just being me. And it's also a thankless job, being a manager, because people, the jokes, they don't care. They think it's the corporate. And
right.
if when you're a manager, you don't, you just, you are who you are. You bring your full self, right? And
Hmm.
so it's rare when you get compliments or people will say things to you because they just either expect it, or maybe when they leave, they're like, oh, wow, that was really helpful, or thank you. But when he came to my door with flowers and this beautiful card, and I'm like, and I was already emotional because you're hormonal. And I'm looking
Right.
at him like, oh my gosh, like what would make, and he was like, but of course.
Right.
And so for me, it reminded me how important it is to tell people in your life, the big and the small. Even with my children, they're like, "Oh, that person was really nice." I'm like, "You need to tell them that," or "That
That's right.
person look." You should tell them that because the thought came to you.
Mm-hmm.
But when
Mm-hmm.
people, particularly when people doing their work, it's
Hmm.
rare that people ever compliment you because you're just doing what you do. But you should acknowledge people because they're doing the best that they
Wow.
can.
It's wow.
So wherever it is, letting people know when it comes to your thought. And so that's really that's what that taught me, is
Hmm.
that when that thought comes up that someone's doing something, text them, email them, call them, drop a little note, because we all need to be reminded on our path
That's
that
right.
we're doing good, or we're doing, and as the prophet says, I think it's in um I can't think of instruction of our Asiatic nation, Holy Covenant of the Asiatic nations.
Mm-hmm.
I always remember, it says, so shall the fortunes of thy father. For my father Allah contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all, and your love to each other. So as we're demonstrating love to each other, that's the Allah in our spirit. That's the Allah in man.
That's right.
So
That's
we
right.
have a duty to
Hmm.
be loving and supportive to everyone. We have a duty to express the Allah in us to each other. So that's something that made me thought about that story.
It's
Wow.
wow.
Hmm.
Sister, Sister Reverend Bay, that, well, as you both know, I like to spread the funny to make people laugh because, you know, it's so much going on in the world today. We need laughter, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I made it my new practice that when someone else makes me laugh, or when I think about someone, text them and say, I was thinking about you. I hope all is well. You
Hmm.
know, I started making
Mhm.
that and it's a new practice. But when
Mhm.
somebody else makes me laugh, I'll either hit the laugh button or I'll say something. And if it really did something for me in that
Right.
moment, I express it. I expressed,
Mhm.
I needed this right now. You don't even
Mm.
know how bad I needed this laugh right now. You were right
Right.
on time, or
Mhm.
whatever I'm feeling. I express it that way. They know that, like I feel when somebody says I needed this right now, I feel good that I helped them get to a better place, and
Mm-hmm.
Right.
praise Allah. And then I want them
Mhm.
to feel the same way too when they helping people get to a better place. So get out of a moment where it feels like gloom and doom in that moment. And
Mhm.
you're trying to find something to keep your mind busy. So you scrolling and you see something and bam. So I'm making that a new habit too. When I think of someone, just drop them a little text or pick up the phone. That's
Mhm.
a that's a good practice. Thank you for sharing that, sister.
You're welcome.
Yes. That is a wonderful practice. Definitely. I think I'm
Mhm.
gonna try my best to snatch that. Praise
Take
Allah.
it. Particularly in this busy world we got, right? Everybody's so
Yeah,
busy. But
I
we
think at
gotta find.
times we don't have time to have like full conversations at times because we all have different things going on during the day. But just to be able to, just send a quick text message saying, Islam, I was thinking of you, like Sister Grill said, like that can be the highlight of somebody's day because you never know what other people are going through.
yeah.
That's right.
You never know. Praise
Mhm.
God. I think we have another question.
Mhm.
So I have another one. It says, has there ever been a time when you have had greed for anything in life?
Y'all thinking about it?
Mm, I
I'll
mean,
go.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
mhm.
Yes. Real bad.
Mm.
Mhm.
Food is one of them. Real bad.
Mm.
And I remember being a teenager. Um, I have a special needs brother, right? And my daddy used to, he was a teacher and he was a deacon and he was a lot for his community. So some Saturdays he wouldn't be home, and some Saturdays my bonus mom would maybe be at work or maybe be out of town. I don't know.
Mm.
But my daddy would order food, order pizza. Now my brother, who's at special needs, can eat a lot, and so can I. So while my daddy is ordering food, or when he's getting ready to give me money to order food. In my mind, I'm saying, please let him say we can have two pieces. Please let him say we can have two pieces. That way I can have one to myself and he can have one to himself. Because one piece is not going to do it. And I remember when I was thinking about this question, I was thinking about, I say, dang, Nikki, like you want to have, oh, you didn't want to save Plum. That's my brother's name. His name Alex. We call him Plum. You didn't want to give Plum none. Like eight slices in a pizza. You get four, he get four. Nah, I felt like more like five or six, you know. And I was
Right.
like, wow, wow. And alcohol too. I'm gonna say that I've been. Um, First, let me say this is real talk, girl talk, Moorish talk, right? So um, I'll use discretion, but I gotta be real, right? When I'm speaking about me, about anything that I know of. I was greedy with alcohol. Like if it just a little bit left and I could be not needing anymore, I just don't want this other person, because that's like the definition of greed is wanting something and not wanting someone else to have it. And that was
Mm.
me with alcohol. And those probably the only things I could think of that I was greedy for. But that's enough. And it's crazy that the things that I was greedy for are things that could potentially harm me. You could become a gluttony and
Right.
an alcoholic. So
Mm.
yeah, peace.
Praise Allah.
See?
I would say for me, I felt like I
Hmm.
was greedy for or selfishly desired attention for my children that I would see other family members receiving. So like my children, like they have grandparents or whatever. Praise a lot for their aunts and uncles that are involved in their lives. But I would always want to like have them have the grandparents that would come get them or come spend time with them. And praise a lot for my mom because my mom, she does the best that she's able to do, but she does come and see them from time to time and come visit with them or come help out with them if I really, really, really need it. But it's like I try not to burden people, but I also want them to want to spend time with their grandchildren. So when I would see like other children and stuff have their grandparents like involved, really, really involved, hands on, I think I felt a little bit greedy in that. Like I really, really selfishly desired for my children to have that, for me to have that for them.
Mm.
So that's one thing. But praise Allah for coming into understanding, because when you come into understanding, you understand that your life is going to be how Allah ordained for it to be. And so although you may want certain things are going to be the way they are. You can only control yourself. You can only and that's with being in, with being in tune with the will of Allah. You can control yourself because in all honesty, you don't control nothing. Allah controls it all.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt like let me just turn that energy into how I focus on them, how me and my husband, how we
Mm.
um together treat them and give them as much attention and affection as we possibly can. It's not up to anybody else. It's up to us. And considering the fact that Allah placed them in our care, so he must have felt like, I trust you to 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 have these four, and you're going to be okay and they're going to be okay. Like I remember being a new mom, and that was like such a huge responsibility for me because I always questioned, like, would I not fail, but would I go through some of the things that I saw or witnessed growing up? And I definitely knew that I did not want to take them down the path that I went through. And praise the Lord, even to this day, I am able to talk to all of my children, and mainly the older two because they pay attention. Like the younger ones, they'll ask me a question, and like 2 minutes later, they're not paying attention. But the older two, like when they ask me, have you ever done this? Have you ever done that? Have you ever been in this situation? I'm going to explain to them. Why? Because I feel like they need to know. They need to know what, their mother has experienced so that they can take that information and figure out which way they're going to go in life. And so I say that to say that you can be wishing for something that you see other people have, not even realizing that the gifts that you have are enough.
Mm.
Mm.
And
Praise
you have
Allah.
to be comfortable with that. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm.
wanting for someone else something that you didn't have, I don't necessarily think it's a problem with that. I think you have to learn how to control it. Because if you're being greedy for it, it's not going to work out in your favor. But if you
Mm-hmm.
just have the hope and the desire to want the best for them, then
Mhm.
you have to
Right.
realize within yourself that you're giving them the best that you have, and they're going to receive that. And so
Mm-hmm.
just being content with that, I think to be content is to be happy, and that's where
Right.
we got to figure out how to be grateful and not be greedy in life.
Mm-hmm.
Being
Sister.
content with what you have.
Praise Allah. That's it right there. I was gonna say money. You know, I'm gonna keep that's me being honest, right? Like there was, um, for me, it was like, okay, I got to do this to do that, or I wanted things, um, those desires, but it was always about money. And it's interesting because I never thought of myself as someone who was, gonna go. I'm not big, shopping or doing this with that, but like I had very intense desires for certain things. For example, like jewelry. I was like, oh my goodness, I used to love looking at, there used to be people around me like, oh, I'm gonna do that, when I get older, when I can get my money again, I want to have this.
Mhm.
And it used to be a really big thing around jewelry. And yeah, I'll share. So I'll just say this: Allah is in full control. Um,
Mhm.
and unfortunate situations has happened. Our house has been broken into more than 3 times. Let's just say that. And
Mm.
every single time, it's been the jewelry, right? And
Mm.
it wasn't even anything big. I won't even say it wasn't even a lot. Some of it was just costume jewelry, right? But by the second or third time, I was like, there is a spiritual lesson within this.
Mm.
There was one time I went on a trip and I got these beautiful earrings someone gave me. I was like, oh, and I lost them. And I'm like, how
Mm.
is it possible that this thing? And so when you say that about greed, I think
Mm.
about that because I really clearly desired something that really I didn't need to have being desired to that level. I
Mm.
wasn't just content with what it is, put too much value in it. And so I just, I had to realize like, okay, I'm putting too much emphasis on it. I'm putting way too much emphasis on what I think it is. There's no saving power in it, and I had to let
Mm.
it go. It's like the glasses. I can buy dollar glass sunglasses all day long, but if it's that one expensive glasses, right, it breaks in 2 seconds, right? Like I'm just putting way too much in this thing.
Yep.
So I will say for me, it definitely was around, money and feeling like I needed to have certain things that I thought were important to realize that actually to be content is to be happy. To be happy exactly the way Allah has given you in your station and be just okay with that. And that's still a hard lesson sometimes. I
Yeah.
want certain things for my children. I want certain experiences for them.
Mhm.
And yet the bank don't say that today. But guess
Right.
what? I guess they're gonna be okay,
Yeah,
and be content with it.
yeah.
So that I will definitely say for me.
Islam, and I've probably shared it with you all before, but there was a period where I didn't have any income. But I remember prior to that period, I had this prayer to Allah and begging him in a sense to remove certain things and weight and worries and give me some peace and all of that, right? And for like 3 years I didn't have an income.
Mm.
And I was the happiest at that time. I
Mm.
was so broke and so happy at the same time. And people would say, how you broke and happy? I said, I don't know, but I'm experiencing it. And I had to think about, I would stand right there in my hallway. The lights would be off. This one light would be on. And I would stand there against the wall, grasping, gratitude, just looking throughout my apartment with my eyes. And I say, thank you, Allah, for
Mm.
this. For
Mm.
this. I just stand here and just look through my apartment and say thank you. Because
Right.
I didn't used to be. No, I didn't have all the things I wanted. I mean, but what I needed, I had it, and I was content with that. And
Mhm.
a lot of times, when I can't get something, I try not to let it play with me because I like shoes and pocketbooks and clothes and things of that nature. So I don't there was a time I had to have it. Like I had to have those things at all costs, you know, and some other stuff wouldn't get taken care of because I had to have those things. Now, how
Mm.
crazy is that?
Mhm.
Feeling like I was using at that time. Like how now at this time in your life this is still happening, Nikki. This is what we
Right.
doing.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
now, praise Allah, I'm
Praise the
so grateful just for the necessities. The necessities. I'm saying I don't even know how to express. how truly, truly grateful I am for simple things. Like, um, I don't have money to go on a tropical vacation, but I got enough money to go to Rita's and get some tropical Italian ice and sit in my living room and watch a movie and be just as content as somebody who on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Real life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
that's growth and improvement.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. We are at time, sisters. I can't believe the time kind of flew by today. This is it. Let me just take a minute and just check in to see that we have closing thoughts before I do the closing announcement, because it is our last show for the season. So any closing thoughts you all want to share or say at this moment, or shout outs?
I just want to shout out once again to my son. Happy birthday. I love you so much. To my children, to our viewers, to those that have watched us and, tuned in and watched our videos, on playback, and honest to each and every one of you. Um, I sincerely love you all, and I think that I speak for my sisters in saying that we are grateful to have you all continue to watch us and tune into us and engage in the conversations. We are truly honored and truly blessed and grateful. So with that, I say peace.
Islam, I'm grateful for all of the viewers. First of all, I'm grateful that I'm still here doing the show. It's been challenging, but I've been here, and I'm grateful for that, and I'm grateful for the love that you sisters have shown me, and I'm grateful that Allah chose these set of sisters and the sisters who were previously on the show to do the show with. I'm grateful that I got to know you for myself, right? I'm grateful for that. That I set out to do that. I'm grateful for the Moors who have been rocking with me on the show and off, and for all my friends and family, and to my sister who joins us every other Thursday. Thank you, sis. I love you very much. Peace.
Wow. Well, I'll just say I want to thank all of the viewers for attending and joining. And I love reading the comments and seeing them and us looking at them. So continue to share your thoughts. And I love it when you all participate. And when we're asking a question, there's a dialogue happening on whatever stream you're on. I'm very grateful for that, because it means that the topic that we're choosing and we're trying to find the best topics to talk about are worthy of your ears. And so thank you for that. I want to thank our other sister shows, Universal Love. They had their last show last night. If you didn't see it, for the Sister Adams Bay with their guest, Sister Montgomery Bay, we talk a lot about her. She runs our tech team, and she was on there as well. So check it out. If you didn't, you can go back and repost. Of course, Sakara Healing is our new with our sister, Sister Berry Bay and her husband. If you didn't see the last one, Brother R. Jones Bay and Sister Jones Bay were on that. And of course, if you want to hear more, Friday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time is our Holy Day meeting. Sunday School, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. That'll be going. That doesn't stop. But this is our last show of the season. Look out for the flyers. We'll come back. And when we come back, look out for some amazing new things and new ideas. And so we look forward to seeing you all. May Allah bless you all. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.